I wanted to welcome everybody back to my hillbilly mansion here in the Hillbilly Hills. And my creation, Holly Ann, still has her cold, gray, dead eyes, but she's anything but dead now. I did get fire. She will fire. I do have some body adjustments I drastically have to do, and those moldings were not getting along with the truck. Their age is old, but I prefer, like I said, I want this thing to look original, like it just came out of somebody's garage, like where I found it. I mean, it was only in there for 25 years, but it's sad that there was no fenders. There was really nothing left of her. No real hood. There was very little of the old girl that was still there. So I had some political stuff for you as I opened the hood. I'm finding grounds. My next thing is in between getting some grass cut, and I have very little grass left. Everything here is brown, except where I'm watering my tomatoes over there. We've had extreme heat, and that's part of my political rhetoric. When you go drying up lakes like they're doing to Lake Mead, Lake Powell, and some of those western lakes, because there's a lot of other lakes people never heard of out there, and they've dried up the tributaries, just like what China did, diverting water into their cities and drying up those tributaries and stuff. As a pilot, I tell people, we were trained on how air masses, how the aircraft like mine might react going over a certain body of water, a certain ocean. There's certain temperatures. I covered this when I was making motorized bicycles. I told people there are certain air temperatures where you can't even get enough lift underneath the wings of a jet. I don't care if you get it going up to full military power, up to 1,000 miles an hour going down that runway. You're probably going to end up in a sand trap or the dirt or kill yourself or worse. You can really get yourself hurt, especially if you have 130-degree heat and you have what they call ambient radiant heat. Okay, I'm going to talk about stuff that later. That's not for this channel. Okay, but when you're talking about air coefficients, okay, where there's no lift under the wings of a jet, you're talking some serious shit. Well, this is how they're playing their weather hocus pocus. They've stopped the cloud seeding. Uh, in other words, they wanted people to see an illusion. Our politicians have been playing an illusion, and I want to tell you something. I'm not a communist. I've never been. So it's beer 30. I want you to enjoy. I'm going to open the hood because what we're doing is now I'm going to go over and find out and see if I can get this fuel pump. Well, there's my neighbor. I just quit before because there was a truck over here. It sounded like a sick moose, or maybe a moose. Maybe somebody was doing something naughty to it. Thing was really making some gnarly sounds, and I'm going, "What's?" I don't know what was wrong with the truck. Never heard a diesel make that type of sound. But anyway, it sounded like somebody was hurting a moose. It was really making some. All right, I'm going to open the hood. This is as far as I've gotten. I'm still not used to that hood latch. That takes a little getting used to. It opens reverse of every other hood latch. You got to push the opposite direction of everything else I own. That's it. And we got to hook up the ground. We're hooking up. We're finding grounds, and I'm finding out, like I said, where there's going to be power and stuff to this. So I'm going to leave the key on, and I even have to find out if we have power at the ignition module here. Both the coil and that distributor, they both need power in order for her to fire. So those are things that they take up days. I'm not one of those setup shops on YouTube where I got 1,000 other monkeys working on stuff even at night. They come in sometimes. Certain shops they have people that moonlight. Okay, it's sort of like what I do. When somebody needs an extra helping hand with a job, that's where I go. And it pays bills, okay? But it's not a constant income, and you can't depend on it because right now they've eliminated almost every other shop. The small shops here are falling. You can't get anything fixed. And it's the reason why I make these videos, because you people are going to have to be able to help yourselves. Up here, there's like 7 to 8. As far as I talk to suppliers, like where I go. for parts, and these places are closing. Jimmy gave up his shop. Aubrey closed up out in the valley. I don't know where people are going to get stuff fixed anymore. It's those places where you need your vehicle back. They're literally little guys like me, but they're getting overloaded. And now that you can't get parts and stuff, those guys are just closing up for now. They're going doing other things. Most of us people like that, we have other talents. In other words, we have other job skills or whatever. So we're going to be able to make a few bucks, but mostly automotive. It's not an easy trade. It is much laborious as it is mind work, and a lot of times you got to spend time. There's times where people, you're supposed to show up for work today. Where are you? Well, I'm up on the computer researching how I'm going about fixing it. You gave me this project. You're going to pay me to do it. So that's the way things pan out. But what's going on politically is they're planning something for November. Democrats know this is the end for them, and I think I think the Republicans are going to take the Senate now, the way it looks. The way it looks like things are flipping, everything's turning red. People have had it with Joe Biden. They've had it with austerity. Biden tried it. They've had it with the global warming hoax. Hey, restore those waterways, Joe Biden, you freaking dope. I'm not a communist, okay, but I have common sense and I understand the way water currents and waterways affect our weather. And it's been affected. And they block that off of YouTube. They block it off of global. And a lot of people, they don't have the mental concept. The stuff is boring, really, to sit there and learn how weather works and weather features. And then we got to worry about what kind of bullshit they're going to pull to try to thwart an election. Because remember Nancy Pelosi, she said her royal ass is not leaving that White House. Well, I got news for Nancy Pelosi. There's 100,000 others like me that say you're leaving. Okay? And if our military is going to turn on the past retired military like me, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm a pretty square shooter. But what I'm seeing out of my Congress, my White House, okay, Biden's disappeared for a reason, and that's the reason is they're planning something. Some sucker punch, just like 911, like Las Vegas, something's going to come in flying in from the backdrop that nobody's going to see. And it's easy to do. It's a big, wide world. I have no solution on how to catch them. But just so you know, the next thing generated before this election, and they get shit canned and kicked out of that White House, they're pulling something. And the next thing is, just so you know, it's on purpose. So I'm hoping you're liking Holly Ann so far. She's got her face back on her. And I'm sorry, we got to brighten her eyes up. We got to give her clear eyes. She's alive again. And I guarantee you she's going to run. And according to all my specs, everything I'm checking is actually good. I'm nervous about the cam. I really, when I use a new product, okay, I haven't really used Howard's in the past. I've been fond of Harlan Sharps, but they've combined. If you're buying a Harlan Sharps cam, just like if you're dealing with some of those Southern Arizona and those Alabama shops, Harlan Sharps and Howard's are kind of combining force. And watch when you're buying those P5 cams and those case hardened cams that you're using a tool grade, a steel tool grade lifter and stuff on those camshafts. Watch what you're doing with them flat tappet cams. I stuck with a hydraulic cam lifter. I'm going to be fine with that. I'm nowhere near that. But you can make a grave mistake when you don't do your research. It's fine. Buy me a cam and you get the cam. And the manufacturers, even Howard's is guilty of it. Crane's guilty of it. All of them are guilty of it. You really don't get too much advice in that box from the manufacturer of that cam. And it's a shame. So as I explain things to you, okay, as an American, okay, we have our duty in November to go do our duty to kick these goofballs out of the White House. And I don't know how to stop this global warming hoax. It seems like part of the Brits are for it and the other part aren't, and other parts of the country, other governments are trying to pull it. Slowing down the human population, the overpopulation problem, that's a questionable thing. But not to bankrupt families that are not going to be able to feed their children and get formula. What this administration in America has done is it's an aberrant disgrace. It's criminal. And that's why I stopped donating to Judicial Watch and a couple others. They're not getting my money. Oh, well, we're doing an investigation. Yeah, you did your investigations. You caught your rats. But none of those rats are facing justice, Hillary Clinton. I'd like to come down on you in Billary. I'd like to come down on you like 200,000 tons of bricks. Okay, just like that Muppet Biden, Putin over there, killing people. I take that Muppet and I'd break him over my knee. I tell you what, don't get an old Dutchman angry. That's the worst guy you're gonna face. That's like going in my house and taunting that bobcat. You're gonna come out of there and wonder what the hell happened to you. So that is a video, and that is my political statement. Is they are fixing this election. Something is going on. That's why Biden's disappeared. When this thing's gonna hit us, I don't know. Hopefully, I'll have this video uploaded by that time, because I think today's like the 24th or whatever. Until I get to put this on YouTube, I get the time to upload it. But it's August 24th today, so that's the day I'm making this video, because tomorrow starts the weekend when I got to cut grass, and I'm still going to fiddle with her, and I'm still going to try to get her vital signs that she has power to everything. I have my power probe. I got everything out today. I'm cleaning up these workbenches. My workbenches have looked like they're like decimated. So I'm throwing stuff in the garbage, and that's what I'm doing in spouting off about my political rhetoric is. I'm an American, and don't shit on me. Don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining Washington, D.C. And Ted Cruz, Jim Jordan, you guys are good mouthpieces. It's time to get your asses in gear and start getting warrants for these people and rounding them up. And I don't know what's wrong with our national security system. People, we are in trouble, especially if our national security interests are not removing these dangerous people. They are dangerous. They're dangerous to each and every one of us, and our family, our children, our pets. They are dangerous. Thanks for watching my videos, people.